And what did Governor DeSantis and Governor Abbott do to them? They used them as political pawns, treated them like chattel in a cruel, premeditated political stunt. Why else would Governor DeSantis have spent the time to charter a flight to take migrants out of a different state, not even his state, a different state, and hire a videographer to capture footage of that flight, but not bother to let Massachusetts authorities know that migrant children in need of food and shelter were about to land on their doorstep?
So by now, we've probably all heard about, God, I'm trying not to cuss right now, the way DeSantis and Governor Abbott are using migrants as political pawns. So at a White House press conference, a Fox News reporter kept asking the same question over and over again, one that Press Secretary Pierre had already answered. And baby, she wasn't having none of it. And I'm glad she let her know. I've answered that question.
Why would the president turn down a DHS plan then to move migrants to the northern border to relieve some of the crowding at the southern border?
I was just asked about this question. That's been already asked and answered.
I
literally just answered that question.
I didn't understand what your answer was. Did he turn down a plan or?
When this is over, you can look at the transcript and take a look.
So you won't clarify?
I literally, Jackie, I just answered that question.
So KJP goes off in a recent press conference, rightfully so, I'm glad that she did, addressing Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott's recent stunts trafficking migrants for cheap political points. And yes, they are trafficking migrants for cheap political points. That's what they're doing. Let's go on. We're going to roll some tapes here. Let's roll this tape.
These are the kinds of tactics we see from smugglers in places like Mexico and Guatemala. And for what? A photo op? Because these governors care about creating political theater than creating actual solutions to help.
And one of the saddest parts about this whole thing is that neither one of these governors are willing to cooperate to do anything to find the fix for comprehensive immigration reform, including having conversations with their Republican colleagues who serve in the Congress, pushing them to help work on comprehensive immigration reform. But instead, they put migrants on airplanes and ship them different places across the country. We know the latest one was to Martha's Vineyard. And I think kidnapping is just about right in this case. And I hope that the Department of Justice will look into this, investigate these two governors. See, the DOJ needs to go ham on this, because how do they get the right to just do that and to treat migrants in this way when they really don't give a literal damn? They don't. They don't care. They just don't care. We just got to call it what it is. It was good to see the press secretary show a little heart during that press conference. We need members of Congress to go harder and Department of Justice investigate these fools, these two governors, because that's exactly what they are. The total disregard for the lives of these migrants, just shipping them off. This is America, elected officials, wasting taxpayers' dollars. So for all you fiscal conservatives, you should be raising hell. Even if you don't care about the migrants, you should be raising hell that these two governors are wasting taxpayers' dollars playing these petty political games at the expense of other people's lives instead of trying to find a solution. And don't get me started on Tucker Carlson, but I guess you are. Let's roll that tape.
Hear that? Hear that? Illegal immigration is not a burden. It's a gift, Dumbo. So Martha's Vineyard received an enormous gift last night. Think of it like a perpetual Christmas, but noisier. And you can't beat the timing, as Karine Jean-Pierre just reminded us today at the White House. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. Perfect! So roll with it, Martha's Vineyard. Things are about to change a lot for you, but that's okay. Radical destructive change is the essence of anti-racism. And as you've told us so many times, you support anti-racism. Lest we need to remind you. And in any case, pretty soon you'll have no memory of the way things were before. Martha's Vineyard will feel and look just like El Paso, and that will all seem normal to you. And that's why tonight it's redolent of diversity, brimming with the gift of illegal immigration. That'll be Edgartown, Massachusetts, Stoon. But we can't stop there. Why would we? If we're really going to make Martha's Vineyard look like the world the people who vacation on Martha's Vineyard have created for the rest of us, we're going to need to import graffiti artists, and armed robbers, and subway rapists, and the drug-addicted homeless community. Many, many of those. And their tents.
That's Tucker being Tucker. He is a clown. Continuing to spew hate, this whole notion of painting people as the other and getting folks all amped up. We need to deal with immigration reform in the United States of America. We also need to deal with the push-pull factors that are happening all over the world when it comes to migrants and or immigrants, people either being pushed from their homeland or pulled somewhere else. There are factors. There's famine, there's drought, all lack of resources. So not only do we need to deal with immigration reform comprehensively in the United States of America, we need all of our world leaders to deal with it too, because they are variables, they are geopolitical variables, besides what's happening to Mother Earth, climate change or chaos that causes these things to happen. And if we want to have not only a better nation, but a better world, we need to deal with these things, both as a nation and as a world, because we all in this thing. And what Tucker was doing by showing El Paso is just to try to gin up people. Instead of he can pick up the phone too and have some conversations with his GOP friends to say, hey, let us all get in the room. Encourage them, members of Congress, those members of Congress to get in the room and work on comprehensive immigration reform instead of the tactics that he uses to scare people. That's what Tucker does. He's a clown. And then there's good old Governor Abbott being interviewed about what Governor Gavin Newsom had to say about his stunt, that it was kidnapping, basically. And Governor Abbott had the nerve to remind folks that he's a former attorney general in Texas, as well as a former Texas Supreme Court justice, which is why his ass should know better.
California Governor Gavin Newsom, who may or may not be a candidate for president in 2024, says you should be investigated for kidnapping. What would you say to him?
Well, as a reminder, I'm the former Attorney General in Texas, as well as a former Texas Supreme Court Justice. I know the law very well, and what we've done in the state of Texas is follow the law to the T to make sure that everything that we've done comports with the federal law.
See, these folks, these Republicans, they know exactly what they're doing. Exactly what they are doing. So Democrats, I'm worried because these folks, they fighting dirty. We need to recognize that and push back. DOJ, I'm looking at you. Investigate these two governors and any other governors that are using these types of tactics. They violating these folks and their children, and it is wrong. All day long, all year long, all life long. Should not be doing this kind of stuff in the 21st century. And to top it all off, using the taxpayers' dime. Come on, feds. Y'all bring the hammer on them.